Hello, this is Sheshachalam from Astroguide Mysore. Today, I'll be answering some doubts pertaining to the combination of Sun and Saturn. We have done these videos in the video number 326 and 333, that is 326 and 333. And I have a few questions only, I think 5 or 6 questions. My wife is there behind the camera, she is assisting me with asking the questions, and who has asked it over my YouTube channel. So let me give a preamble on this particular thing. You know, people think that when Sun and Saturn mix together, it's a hopeless combination. There is a myth telling that it's the one of the toughest combinations. Then there is another thing which goes along with Sun and Saturn is that when Saturn gets combust, what should we do? What are the remedies we should do? So there are too many things which actually work out. I have also done the Saturn combustion video. You people can go through that. So there are variety of combinations of Sun and Saturn with variety of results. Please don't get attached to a single thing. Don't think that when Saturn is combust, that means there is no Ayu at all, because Saturn is for Ayu. And don't think that when Sun and Saturn both are together, that a person will 100% go through cardiac problems. Nothing like that. It all depends on the lordship of Sun, the lordship of Saturn from a given ascendant for a particular chart. So every chart is unique, and this particular combination will be peculiarly unique for that particular chart. So my thing is, be free and open when you analyze these combinations. So anyway, we'll start with the first question. Yeah, you can go ahead.
The first question is by Shweta Pathak.
Shweta Pathak, yeah.
She has said, I have Sun, Saturn, extreme conjunction, both at 7 degrees in Scorpio, in 6th house.
Is Saturn Saturn is obviously combust at 7 degrees each, and which Rashi?
Scorpio, and Saturn occupies lower degrees. That means Sun has
Okay.
So
is Saturn Saturn occupies lower degrees. That means Sun has won the war.
Yeah.
So when Sun and Saturn are together, Saturn is never retrograde. So Saturn is usually retrograde when it is far away from Sun in the 5th or the 9th or something like that. So we will 8th or 9th. We will discuss about that particular thing, that why planets become retrograde in a particular angle from Sun later on. So yeah. Which is the house actually,
so
which
this
is...
girl is of Gemini Lagna, because Scorpio in 6th house. The combination is in 6th house.
Has she specified the ascendant degree?
No.
So I would always want people to specify the ascendant degree when you're asking me the doubt. Why? Because now here in this case, both Sun and Saturn are at 7 degrees in Scorpio. I do not know whether the ascendant might be at 1 degree in Gemini or at 29 degrees and 30 seconds in Gemini. 29 degrees and 30 minutes in Gemini. So without knowing that, we will not know the exact house position of the Sun and Saturn in Scorpio, because it is in the sign of Scorpio, no doubt. But if the degrees change, the house position will be changing from either the 6th house, or it might also fall in the 5th house. So if the ascendant is at 29 degrees in Gemini, the whole combination will go to the 5th house. So the results will entirely change. So this is why I keep telling people about the Bhava. There are people who are asking me that whether Bhava Chalit was discussed in Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. Obviously it was discussed, and I will be giving out all the details on where the Bhava calculations were made, how the 10th house midpoint was calculated, and what actually, how it was used to. So we'll come to that later on with regard to Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. But with regard to the generalistic predictions of Saturn and Sun in the, this particular placement of 7 degrees in Scorpio. For Gemini, Sun becomes the 3rd lord, and Saturn becomes the 8th and the 9th lord. Both are no doubt enemies. They have different strength, but when they both are in the sixth house, individually they become very strong. So Gemini also gets a positive response from Sun when it is in the sixth house. Gemini gets a positive response when Saturn is in the sixth house, but when they are together. Sixth house is also for Roga, and you know Saturn means legs and Sun means bones. So there might be weakness with Sun and Saturn sitting in the sixth house from Gemini. But there might be very strong combination it is for service and for activities like getting through competitive examinations. We should also be very much, we should focus on the sixth lord, which becomes the dispositor of this combination, that is Mars. If Mars is aspected by Saturn, or if Mars is in 1-7 axis of this combination, then Buddhi Manda Roga can get into play, because the Lagnadipati is Buddha, the sixth lord is Mars, and if there is a combination of the Lagnadipati becoming weak, that is Mercury becoming weak, and Mars having an influence of Saturn, then there might be difficulties of anxiety, problems of anxiety, because Sun, when it hits Saturn in combustion, a person loses patience, control over patience. So this is a very important combination when both are within 1 degree. So let us go to the next combination, because I cannot go in depth because I don't know the degree of the ascendant. Yeah.
The next question is by Sarah M. She has asked about Sun and Saturn combination in Leo, just in a general way.
In a generalistic way, Sarah has asked about Sun and Saturn combination in Leo. And here the combination, so I will take it as not combust. So I will just take it as a combination that, let us say for example, Saturn is at 8 degrees in Leo and Sun is at 22 degrees in Leo. And this is a combination which will give very good results for different ascendants, depending on the lordship, house lord, whether it is the fourth lord, fifth lord, third lord, etc. But Sun in Leo will excel, it will give excellent results for health, good health, because Sun is primarily for the bone, the strength, the stamina, the blood. So Saturn is for the legs, the activeness, the motivation, not getting into depression and so on. So when Saturn and Sun both are together in Leo, obviously Saturn is not well placed. It is in discomfort, and it is uncomfortable when a planet which wants to be cool, which doesn't want to unnecessarily get afflicted by the heat of Sun, when it is sitting along with it, surely a person will face chronic discomfort with regard to health, with regard to digestion, and also with regard to displacement in job, depending on where they are placed. But still, this combination gives extraordinary results and also some difficult results with regard to health, because Saturn is involved there. Yeah.
The next question is by Regine.
I did not get the name.
Regine, Regine.
Regine, okay.
Okay, she has asked about Sun Saturn conjunction in Pisces, and that is the sixth house. So Libra is the ascendant.
Sun Saturn conjunction in Pisces for Libra ascendant, and she has very specifically mentioned that it is the sixth house. So that means I think she has seen the Bhavachalit chart also. And here for Libra, Saturn is a Yoga Karaka. Being the Yoga Karaka, Saturn is in a fantastic position in the sixth house, giving extreme knowledge of spirituality, because it is in Pisces, the complete sign, and also Sun, a spiritual planet sitting in Pisces, is very good for understanding the higher knowledge, spirituality. First thing.
Sun is 11th Lord.
Sun is the 11th Lord here. So being the 6th from the 6th, Sun again might give some problems of the lower abdomen and bowel movements, because it is the 11th Lord which represents the calf muscles in the body, and also it represents the heat which is required for digestion. So if Sun has gone to Pisces, which is very near to its point of exaltation, and but being the 6th house, it's a fantastic position for occupational success, professional success, business, many other things. But still, bowel movements will get become difficult because of this particular position of Sun. So a person has to do yoga, has to wake up early in the morning, do some pranayama, that is breathing exercises, to have normal bowel movements. Yeah.
Next question is from Peace from Mind.
Peace of mind.
Peace from Mind, that is
Peace
the name.
from mind. Okay.
Okay.
I don't
So
know the
it's
meaning of
for,
it.
the question is, he is a Leo Ascendant, he or she, and Sun is at 15 degrees, Saturn at 9 degrees, both in 11th house, Gemini sign. So what is the result?
Sun and Saturn with a difference of 6 degrees from each other, because Sun is at 15 degrees and Saturn is at 9 degrees, right? So Saturn is partially combust here. So I take 7 degrees as combustion for Saturn, and after 7 degrees I let it free. So, but here it's at 6 degrees, so I take partially combust. In the first case it was fully combust at 7 degrees each. Here it is 15 and 7. Sorry, 15 and 9. So that means 6 degrees difference. And it is the 11th house, is it?
Yeah, it's 11th.
So 11th house means the ascendant falls in Leo, and this combination is in Gemini. So we have seen a pattern here. People have asked questions where Sun and Saturn are in the 6th house or in the 11th house. You can understand the strong positions of Sun and Saturn are the 3rd, the 6th, the 10th and the 11th, Upachaya sthanas. And the combination becomes weak when they are sitting in the 3rd, the 6th, the 10th and the 11th, and they are close to each other. So that is why the questions have emerged, because good, fantastic results of both planets when they are individually posited in this position are not happening, or might not be fully giving fruits, because these combinations give erratic results in the dasha bhuktis between Sun and Saturn. And why this happens is because, being the yoga karaka, Saturn fails when it is in combination with Sun, and in this case, being the Lagnadipati, Sun in the 11th house should give extraordinary results with regard to labha, that is making property, gaining from property like rental income, like side income. All these things should be very good from Sun, but because Saturn is a sort of badaka for this particular ascendant, though for Sthira Rashi we take the 9th as the badaka. Here I call a badaka with regard to the 7th house, because the normal opposition for the ascendant will be the 7th lord, and Saturn is the 7th lord and the 6th lord here, Rogasthana and also the Badaka Sthanadipati. As a natural Badaka for all Lagnas, the 7th house becomes a Badaka, and being the 7th lord sitting in the 11th house, it might delay the progress of the native with regard to settling down in his job. And why that is? Because taken the 10th house falls in Taurus, Gemini becomes the 2nd house for Dhanasthana. And when you have a Bhadaka in the Dhanasthana, it will usually delay things for getting into a job, getting into a fruitful job or a normal job. But this position is excellent for a person to get into government service and also to get into a strong job, but after a sort of 3 or 5 year delay, depending on the dasha bhuktis, because we don't know the placements of moon and the ascendant in particular. Yeah.
So we have last question by
Yeah.
Shilpi Sharma.
Shilpi Sharma. Yeah.
She has asked about the nakshatra exchange between Sun and Saturn.
Nakshatra Parivartana Yoga between Sun and Saturn. We do not know the exact nakshatras, right?
No.
Okay. So let us say that we'll take an example. So Saturn is placed in Uttara Palguni Nakshatra in Leo. Okay? And Uttara Palguni Nakshatra is ruled by Sun. And we will take the other part of Sun being placed in Uttarashada Nakshatra, Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Uttarashada is of Sun. Uttara Bhadrapada Nakshatra of Saturn, which is in Pisces. So if Sun is in Pisces and Saturn is in Leo, will they usually have a mutual exchange of strength? The question here is, will Sun and Saturn mutually influence each other? 100% they will influence each other because the nakshatra parivartana is stronger than Rashi parivartana. Because the Rashis are man-made. Try to understand. The nakshatras are there. You name them A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Nobody cares. But the nakshatra is there. Nakshatra is the constellation. It is there. It is mapped. The Rashis were formed by man because of making it simpler. 12 boxes are better than 27 boxes. 27 nakshatras. Including the Abhijin nakshatra, it will become 28 boxes. If you have gone through the Sarvashtaka Varga, if you have gone through the Sarvato Bhadra Chakra, so not Sarvashtaka Varga, Sarvato Bhadra Chakra, you can see that 7 4s are 28. They have taken Abhijin nakshatra also into consideration, which is in between the Uttarashada nakshatra and Shravana nakshatra. So, can't handle too much of complexities. So the human mind, as days goes by, gets deteriorated. That's what has been said by Brihat Parashara, that is Parashara Muni, when he was discussing the first few paragraphs of Sarvashtaka Varga. He tells the students that in the later days, human beings will become very feeble. Their eating habits, their routine will deteriorate to such an extent that whatever I teach will be very difficult for them to take in. And 100%, I myself go through hardships to even study the Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. I have gone through it 3 times. To go through it once more, we feel so lethargic, we let go. This is the point which Parashara Muni was very clear and mentioned it when he was explaining the Sarvashtaka Varga system. And he told, I will be explaining one system which is mathematically easy for them. They can have numbers and they can deal with it easily. And to explain Sarvashtaka Varga today is so difficult. Which Parashara Muni had told that this is the easier system for the dumb and the dumbest of the next coming generations. 1,000 years from now, they will not be able to understand the tougher ones. And we have become, I don't have a superlative to put after dumbest. We are more further dumb than that. So we are not able to understand Sarvashtaka Varga. I myself take a lot of time to understand how to go about it. So what about the other things what Parashara has told? So what I am trying to tell here is that if we know the degrees of planets, if we know the actual planets, placement of planets, it will be better for us to deal with it. But when there is a Parivartana Yoga between Saturn and Sun, a fantastic influence of ego and patience. Sun is ego, Saturn is patience. Sun is curiosity. He wants to venture into things. Saturn is experience. He knows things. So these two things, when they come together, a person will have the best of qualities for judgment, because the ego will be, it will simply bow down in front of experience. One or the other day, the ego has to bow down in front of experience, because the topmost egoistic people have also learned their skills below a teacher. So when the teacher comes in front of them, their ego vanishes, because they cannot show their ego, they can show it everywhere else. but they cannot show it in front of their guru. So the guru who has the highest experience, or the teacher who has the highest experience, after doing each job thousands of times, that is Saturn. Sun is not like that. He has learnt it, he has perfected it, and he has the ego that I know this, better than anybody else. That's fine. It's like Arjuna, who knows all the skills and the art of archery, comes and stands in front of Krishna. He bows. He has to bow down. So, Sun becomes modest in front of Saturn, not in front of anybody else. This is one thing which we should understand when we discuss about Saturn and Sun combination. So, thank you very much for today's class.
Thank you, sir.